Hi y'all, I am Melissa and welcome to Oh My Word, Melly. I know I missed posting a video last week because I had a very long and hectic week. I did not have the time to film a video as well. So extremely sorry about that, but here I am today with my January reading wrap up. So in today's video, I am going to tell you about the books that I read in January, what I thought of them, what the book is about, as well as whether I would recommend it to you all. So I managed to read 3 books in January. I know it is somewhat a lower pace than I would normally read. Like I was actually targeting at 4 to 5 books, but with my hectic work schedule, I just couldn't find the time to read faster than I usually would. So the first book I read for this year and in January is none other than Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Lees. I think y'all have heard me talking of this book in like my previous videos. I recommended this book and spoke about this book even in my uppercase YA reading challenge book recommendation video, which y'all can click up here to watch. Absolutely adored this book. If I wasn't actually busy and I actually had the time to invest, this would have been a book that I would read in like one sitting. It's so captivating. It is slow burn. It has this fake dating trope. Actually, not just fake dating. They were like fake dating for revenge. So revenge fake dating, and that was like totally fun. It was spicy and it's written in dual POV. So dual POV is something I really like in books because it gives you that holistic feeling, or like you get the whole story from both angles. And I love that this book had diversity. It did touch upon the LGBTQ spectrum. Then the main characters had some neurodivergent disability, like the female main character was autistic, whereas the male main character had I think depression. And it's also like a twist or a retelling of a Shakespeare story, or Shakespeare, whatever you call it. I am not a Shakespeare lingo person, but it's a retelling of Much Ado by Shakespeare. Oh my god, I love it. It had such a slow burn vibe, but still it was so enjoyable. I'm not someone who likes slow burn, but slow burn in this, yes, count me in for it. And it was more like a frenemies to lovers, where so this main character, the female main character, who is Beatrice or B, she's twins, and the twin sister wanted B to get out and fall in love, find someone for herself, and but B had gone through this rough patch which she had renounced dating as well. And then what's this guy's name? West. So he had a long name, but West is what everyone called him. So West is B's twin sister's boyfriend's roommate, something like that. And then so B's twin sister and her boyfriend tries to set them up together, but like the first meeting doesn't go well. So it's like a bad first impression, and then they can't stand each other. But when they started realizing that there is a plot to put them up together, they decide, okay, we'll teach them a lesson of their own poison kind of thing. And then they just decide to fake date to seek revenge, but in the process they end up falling in love. And like, oh my word, it was amazing. So definitely y'all should read this. I love the author's style of writing, so for sure I will be picking up more of Chloe Lees's books and reading it, hopefully, fingers crossed, this year. So this year, like my reading challenge or like my reading goals have been to challenge myself and to read out of the box. So the second book I read in January is a non-fiction book, and it is Trevor Noah's Born a Crime and Other Stories from a South African childhood. So I never thought I would enjoy a non-fiction book as much as I enjoyed this. I am such a huge fan of Trevor Noah to start off, and like I have to comment and say he's a fabulous writer as well. Exactly like in his stand-up comedies, he just wows you with how he addresses touchy subjects that are difficult to digest with humor. Like, oh my word, I just loved how he addresses everything. I am just speechless. I don't have words to explain this book. Definitely, y'all should read this. Like, even if y'all are not non-fiction readers, I think this is something that y'all could palate. And trust me when I say it, I am not someone who would read a non-fiction book, but this is just a beautiful memoir of coming of age in South Africa, how Trevor was born in the most peak of the apartheid, then Nelson Mandela being released, how things started to change where the blacks or these um, the black folks were just simply treated as slaves, and then how they had to adapt to getting into society, how based on their color there was so much of racism. And this guy Trevor Noah, being a colored person, that is, the mother is black, the father was Swiss, so he's in between everything, how he had to navigate the whilst being a kid to find where he fits. Does he fit in the blacks crowd or does he fit in the whites crowd? Like, and all the hardships that he had to go through, not only him but his mother. This doesn't only talk about the hardships he went through, he did touch on subjects where females, or like, it was like really sexist at that time, where women mostly had to like bend and worship men, and where women only had to stay in the house and not go out for work, and like just so much of dark topics. He just addresses it in a very easy way, laced with humor, laced with, analogies that you could just die laughing. But like, you understand the gravity of it even though it is written in such simplistic terms. And a point where I really connected with Tre is where, like, or with this book, where I really felt a pain, a pang in my heart, is when he started eating worms. Like, they went to that level of poverty where they didn't have anything to eat, and he was eating worms, where he says, okay, he started off eating it happily, thinking okay, but then it just, after he started eating it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and when every time he bit into it, how the excretion just popped in his mouth, and then it just hit him hard, like, ew, I'm eating worms, where he just cried and said, I can't eat anymore. My god, that really hurt. And I do see how all that he went through molded him to be who he is. And really, hats off to his mother, like, totally, like, the mother shines through and through in everything that uh, Trevor mentions in the book. And like the way she brought him up, giving him like very adult conversations, like not treating him just as a kid but teaching him everything from a small age, so that he wouldn't do mistakes what others do, or he would have a different perception towards things. Like a mother who did not get the opportunity to study, to actually live her life the way she wanted to, but she made sure that her children lived the life she never had, and that they had a life where they didn't have to suffer as much as she did. But she had like so much of courage to decide that she wanted a colored child when it was forbidden to have a colored child, right? The way she addressed every situation, the way she brought up Noah, the way she taught him lessons was impeccable for a woman who had to go through so much. So this book was such an inspiration. Like, everyone knows where Trevor is now, how he got here. Like, his fame and fortune is what everyone knows. But this book covers everything that none of us knew, none of us would even think of from his childhood. Like, it wasn't easy at all, and I really love this book. I'm still trying to find more words, better words to explain this book, but all I can say is read this because it's an amazing memoir. This book is making me want to read more memoirs, is what I should say. Now I'm actually thinking of whether I should read Prince Harry's memoir or like some other memoir, because I just absolutely enjoy this and I would recommend this book 100%. Like, give it a try. If you're just going to read one non-fiction book for your entire life, this has to be that non-fiction book, hands down. So the last book I read in January is an ARC that I received from Emmanuel Snow, and that is Legend and Country, which is Carter Hill Band series book 7. Guys, I have read all 7 books and all novellas that came in between as well. I love Emmanuel Snow so much. So, like always, her books are not just romance, they are not just fiction. It's so realistic, so emotional. You get hooked, you bound with those characters so much. It's so relatable. Even if you haven't gone through an experience that is covered here, you connect with each character in such a deep level that you feel like you are just going through. It's easy to imagine, you feel immersed in this entire thing. So Legend and Country follows this music legend Sam Stevens, who is a single dad raising 2 children. The book starts off where his ex-wife like walks out on him just all of a sudden. Like, they had dinner, they gave the eldest daughter a bath, put both the daughters to sleep, and then she just packs up and leave. The eldest daughter sees this, and this child is like traumatized by that event because she saw her own mother walking out on her. Like, the book starts with this scene where she's crying, like this 7-year-old kid or like 6-year-old kid is crying, saying, "Mom left without kissing me. Mom didn't kiss me. Why, Dad? Why didn't Mom kiss me?" Like, oh my god, the waterworks start there. And like, this book just is such a wholesome book. Like, I have to say that Sam just gives up his country music career. He's famous, he's a legend, he lost all his record deals, but he devoted his entire life to be the father as well as the mother to these 2 children. He struggles, he is struggling, he doesn't have the time to go through, like, to deal with the trauma that he went through as well. And then one of his friends, Riley, comes and gives him that nudge to start his career again. And then Riley sorts this out because Sam's only concern is he doesn't want to leave his 2 children, he doesn't want this country music life or this gig life, traveling into a buses, to affect his children's future. Like, he is such an amazing character. Like, I always say this to Emmanuel Snow, and I say it again. She writes characters that you can easily fall in love with. And for him, his children mattered. So Riley, being the genius he is, had an awesome plan whipped up. He said he already has the best nanny who could travel with them, take the children on tour, as well as teach the children, and that's where Maddie comes into the story. So this book follows a grumpy sunshine trope, single dad and nanny trope. This is about family, about love, about commitment, about sacrifices, because as soon as Sam and Maddie met, there was such sparks, there was chemistry, love at first sight, you can call it, but for the sake of professionalism and for the sake of the children, they decide not to work on it. But the angst builds up, like it's slow burn, like, and at the beginning I honestly thought this was a little bit too slow burn, to a point where I don't like slow burn, but the way the book flows, and by the end you realize that that stretch, that slow burness was actually needed. My god, the way the children bond with Maddie, the way like Maddie feels like she's always has been a part of this family. Like the children end up calling her mama. Like, oh my word, those moments were like precious. Emmanuel Snow never fails to have some twist. God, if I tell the twist, it's going to be such a spoiler, but my heart sank. Like I was waiting, like all the angst, the build up of them, like to starting to go on tour. Like it's almost that they are about to start the tour, get on the bus to go. They are going to start this new adventure, and then bam, this particular incident happens, and like it's just mind blowing. Like not in a good way, like it's just surprising. You are just dumbstruck, I would say, and like that changes the whole uh I don't know, the whole all the expectations you had for the book, and then the way the story just flips and turns from there and then progresses is like just amazing. Like you needed that. I won't say you didn't, it was just such a shock. And the way they address depression, loneliness and all in this book, oh my word, Emmanuel Snow just takes your heart, breaks it, and then puts it back together in an even better way than you could imagine. I absolutely love this book. It's in a dual POV as well, and as usual, I love Emmanuel Snow's writing, so I have nothing against her writing or the story to tell y'all. So definitely, like I always do, I recommend Emmanuel Snow's books always. So read this, read this, read this. Oh my word, read this. So those are the 3 books that I read in January, guys, and as I saw, I love them so much. I just couldn't get enough of them. I just wished that I read more books as I had in mind. But then again, hoping February will be a better reading month, with it being the month of Valentine's and month of romance books. Obviously, with me loving to read romance as well, I hope I get to read more this month. If you all did enjoy my mini reviews of these 3 books, and if I did tempt you all to pick it up, I hope you all do pick it up, guys, and give these books a shot as well. They're so worth it. Anyway, with promises of more fun and bookish videos, it's time for me to wrap up this video. So if y'all still haven't subscribed to my channel, I think y'all should click on the subscribe button and the little bell icon so that y'all will be notified every time I post a new video. And with that, it's time for me to say bye from Oh My Word, Melly.